one of the importance of environmental education is that it promotes awareness amongst people. Environmental education is way deeper than social studies and civic education. So we need more teachers, more tutors that are well enlightened and well groomed, grounded in these particular things.
Now scientists are finding that there's no cell in our bodies that doesn't contain microplastics. And I want you to think about that. No cell, meaning your sperm cell, your egg cell, everything has microplastics now.
Research, and I saw that the plastic takes like almost 100 years for more than that for it to decay.
Yes.
So imagine 100 years. Like, how many of these carbon drinks do you drink in a day, and you trash them on the floor, and that's how it will be till maybe you have died and you've come back? I
think we should make it as engaging as possible. So if you go into teaching environmental education or climate education to especially students or people in hospitals or universities, how can you make it engaging? What are you bringing into that room that they can sit together and talk about?
If you as a child don't even know that there's a problem, there's no way you'll be able to explain to the child they are teaching that there's a problem, or talk less of even providing solutions to the problem.
I can't talk to a child and then go home and somebody will scrap whatever it is that I taught them. So everybody needs to be
involved
together.
Yeah.
Hi there, you're welcome to Timeline. My name is Paul, and with me here is
Jill Oneze.
And also we have Ifechi of Clean Tech
Technology Hub. Yes, Clean Technology Hub.
Yes, Clean Technology Hub. That's very nice.
Hi.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Okay, so I wanted to say something earlier. I love your earrings. Like,
Thank
it
you.
reminds me of when I was in primary too.
Oh, wow. She's a throwback.
I'm not saying she's my throwback.
I don't know
but
if this
literally,
means my earrings are childish.
No, I'm not saying your earrings are childish. Well, come on, it shows that you are really, really. You don't forget your roots, actually. That's what it shows. I don't know, just thinking
I don't know.
You need to explain later
I
on.
don't understand.
Like,
please, you should not crucify me. I just like the earring, and that's all.
that could have helped. Okay, today we're talking about environmental education. Environmental education is it's talking about the learning process that creates awareness and also equip individuals with knowledge and adequate skills to help us to have a more sustainable environment and take more responsible climate actions. With several approaches to environmental education, we see today that there are formal approaches, there are informal approaches, and also there's a non-formal approach. But the key components of environmental education that we have today still remains awareness, skill, participation, knowledge, and also engagement, right attitude to our environment. And that is what we're talking about today.
I'm so much thrilled because of those particular key words you mentioned, because that's exactly what environmental education is all about. And one of the importance of environmental education is that it promotes awareness amongst people. You see people doing a lot of things, and most of them, they don't really know the repercussion of that particular thing they are doing. Most people are very, very ignorant. So you see people throwing trash inside the river, or burning a lot of things, or doing some things, doing things illegally, and they feel it's okay. But they don't know that on the long run, it can haunt back.
Yeah.
And so the essence of environmental education, one of the importance is that it creates this awareness that, this thing you're doing is literally bad.
I think another aspect of it is that you're teaching people to make informed decisions.
Yes.
So something that I would have done unconsciously before, at least if I know better, I will do better. Do you get? So,
For me, I usually have this very weird sensation when I see people throwing trash away from their car, dropping, probably take sweets or a chewing gum and then dropping the wrapper on the floor. Mind it. Because I'm one that each time I I take sweets, I'll put the wrapper inside my
pocket.
bag or
Oh,
my
your bag.
pocket.
Yeah.
If it's a plastic bottle, I could literally play with it till when I get to my house and just drop it in one corner in the house. I prefer that than me just throwing it anywhere, just see anywhere. And there are people that even you mentioned that people throw trash into the river. I've seen the river is still far away from people's house, right? I've seen people that will just dump it in front of their house, in the drainage in front of their house. And when rain comes, where do you expect the water to flow?
Some people are even waiting for rain to come because
They'll
at least you carry it away.
And you know, going to go and block somewhere.
You know the painful part of it during dry season when everywhere is stagnant. Like, let us not even come from the health part of it, because this kind of things can breed mosquitoes. It can breed a lot of things. And you see, before you know, you start coughing. And why are you coughing? Is it not you that cause it? But anyways, that's just
one of the things that this environmental education does is to ensure that we have more serene environments and also improve public health, which is very important. And for me, it's more about the engagement of the public, community engagement. We see people here and there on their doing all of these things, blocking the drainage and things like that. If they are well educated about what all of these things cost, we will see that we will have more people, we'll have more clean drainage, we won't have issues of flooding and here and there. All of those things will reduce.
Yeah, and another importance is that it fosters critical thinking and problem solving. You see that whenever you are being enlightened about a particular issue, it makes you to sit down in your closet and say, this thing I'm doing is not good. And when there is a problem, you can actually sit down and think and say, okay, let me proffer solution to this particular issue that is actually coming up, especially issue connected with the environment. So, environmental education actually gives you that room for you to be a problem solver and a critical thinker, so that whenever issue comes up, you are there to solve it.
It also means that if someone comes up with a solution, you are not opposing the solution because you don't understand the problem. So if you understand the problem and I come and say, this is the solution to our problem, you'll be like, yes, I'm on board because I know that this is the problem, this is the solution.
Instead of you being a problem to the solution, you also become a solution maker, basically. And also, with all of this, right, there are still several challenges and limitations that it continues to face. And one of such is limited funding. Like, there's no doubt that in trying to clean up the waste, clean up our streets and all of that, it will need a lot of funding. I think we were talking in one of our episodes about how it's expensive to move waste around and things like that. So if there's no proper funding to start with, right, there's no backing from somewhere. You cannot go about. I mean, I see people doing it, right? I don't have the confidence to tell them that you pick that thing up now, it's wrong. But as my friend, if I see you dropping something, you are picking it up immediately.
There's a subject in secondary school, two subjects actually, called civic education and social studies. So this particular two subjects actually taught us then about morals, and then social studies will teach you about culture and then environment. But this is me saying that we literally lack trained educators in this particular line, because environmental education is way deeper than social studies and civic education. So we need more teachers, more tutors that are well enlightened and well groomed, grounded in this particular thing, so that by the time you go into the classroom and you're not just telling them don't do this, but you're also telling them the repercussion of it, and then telling them that, okay, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do in your environment, and your environment is where you stay. Your environment is your life. You are your environment. So there are certain things you're not supposed to do. There are certain things you're supposed to do. And also you should also learn how to correct others who do not have the, opportunity for them to learn.
I think it's also really important that you mentioned training teachers, because at least when they're talking about these things to their students, they're not coming from an opinion. They are coming from facts. This is fact-based suggestions and trainings that you're giving to them.
So before we move to the teachers, like I do understand that teachers also have a role to play, right? But one of the things that we've not mentioned is how our curriculums have not integrated all of these things into it. A country like Finland, for example, has very much integrated it so much. It will shock you that today now across 100 countries in the world, according to UNESCO, only 47 of these countries have been able to integrate environmental education into their curriculum.
System,
and for on the part of the teachers now, teachers might know how to explain, okay, this is what it is. If you do this, this is what pollution is. But when it comes to providing solutions, how to take actions, most of them don't have the ability to explain explain that so much, and that's where that I understand that that's where you are coming from. So it's more of an issue of how to take action, the right actions to take. Okay, fine, you are polluting this environment. This is the right action you're meant to take, and not to do this. But what they just don't understand is that, oh, this is pollution. These are the types of pollution and things like that.
I think what is happening now is that the Ministry of Education has done a curriculum, but it's more subject based. So in a subject like geography, you might touch on
climate,
erosion or climate. In subjects like integrated science, I don't know what they're calling it now, but you might touch on it once or twice. But I think what they're trying to do now is have a more like a climate science subject that they can integrate into curriculum. So I think they're working on that. So we can only just wait and hope.
and that issue again is misinformation. It's no doubt that our environment today is polluted with information, with everybody being journalists. I mean, I could literally just see something now, and the next thing I'm on Twitter or I'm on somewhere just tweeting my own opinion. I think that's what it should be called, opinion-based journalism, because it's how I see it, and then someone reads that particular thing I tweet about and takes it that, oh, this is facts, and then goes somewhere again and educates a whole bunch of people again that, oh, this, I saw something on Twitter. You don't even know who I am. You don't know where I am. You don't know how knowledgeable I am about this subject matter. You just see my opinion, and then you take it as fact, and then you go around with it, preaching the gospel of my own opinion.
I think the promotion of misinformation is also linked to maybe how the country relies on certain things. For example, Nigeria, we are reliant on petroleum and oil. So if we don't want people to know more about renewable energy or the effects of burning fossil fuels on the environment, I might be promoting misinformation so that at least we can keep that source of revenue for a longer period of time than. But
another thing is low awareness, and it's still part of what you just said, and also lack of interest. I still give this particular illustration that my mom always says. You know, whenever she tells me to do something and I don't want to do it, that is supposed to benefit me, she will just say, I say, horse, I will take you to the river, but I will not force you to drink water. So you can actually tell people that, okay, this is very, very important for you to know and for you to do, but you don't want to do it because I don't know, because they don't have the interest. Maybe job like it's not really my business. You know, they lack interest in it, and this kind of thing. It doesn't happen. The repercussion doesn't happen immediately. It's something that happens, like, it takes time. I was reading a particular research, and I saw that the plastic takes like almost 100 years for more than that for it to decay. So imagine 100 years. Like, how many of these carbon drinks do you drink in a day, and you trash them on the floor, and that's how it will be till maybe you have died and you've come back. I don't know.
So even
you're talking about what's it called, plastic, right? There's also polythene as well. There are a number of things, and that issue is even how prepared are we to actually take action? That's another question that we should also be posing to ourselves, because we see there are some times where we'd see that, oh, there's one small nylon that is already entering the drainage system. We see it first on day one, is like probably like 5 centimeters away. Day 2, it comes closer. Day 3, it enters, and then you see it go through all of those processes, and you just look at it. And then when rain comes, there's no way for water to pass. And then next thing, you say there's flood in the environment, and then you start shouting, it's the government. Oh.
And I don't think it even goes beyond floods and, you know, the thing washing in front of your house. Now, scientists are finding that there's no cell in our bodies that doesn't contain microplastics. And I want you to think about that. No cell, meaning your sperm cell, your egg cell, everything has microplastics now. So even if we need to, we should have started talking about this thing like this. But
But we'll go on a break now. Once we're back, continue the discussion, talk about strategies and also solutions and how we can fix all of these things. My name is Paul. With me here is John Eze and also Ifechi. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap
that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people, and let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah 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 convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in and let's drive straight into the heart of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button and let's take this ride together. Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hued Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hued Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hued Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
You're welcome back. This is your Timeline. My name is Paul. With me here is Joan, and also we have Ifechi in the building. And today we're talking about how to fix our environment, talking about environmental education. And now we're moving on to the strategies that we can use to ensure that we are able to tackle all of these challenges one after the other. I think the very first one is a community-based programs. It's important because at the end of the day, it's these communities that generate this waste, and it's this waste that now affects the environment at the end of the day. So it's more about, if we could educate a whole community and how they do things, they will see that the community is better. And by community, I mean like from small, poco a poco, and then we have a whole nation. And then before we know it, the whole world is already together on when it comes to saving the environment.
Yeah, I'll just go straight to schools. Ecosystem should be should be well managed. In schools, children should be taught how to plant trees. Back then in the uni, there's this particular club, I will just be in our hostel and we'll see them moving around and they'll tell you, save a tree, you go, you plant a tree and they make sure they nurture that tree till it grows, then they graduate, another set continues to nurture the tree. So it's very important. People that are cutting down trees, I'm not saying you should not cut down, but well, you have to know what you're doing before you start destroying a lot of things, because any tree you cut down, you're actually causing a lot of things. Yeah. So, also these gardens too, children should also understand that, okay, we can actually create gardens, around us, plant things, just to help our ecosystem and all that. So that's for me too.
I think, talking about going straight to schools, you mentioned communities and everything is working together. If I teach a child, this is what you're supposed to do, but you go home and your parents tell you, what are you doing? Get out of here. So even if we're like talking to children, you have to go to other communities as well. We're going to hospitals, we're going to organizations. So even if I'm talking to children, I can't talk to a child and then go home and somebody else will scrap whatever it is that I taught them. So everybody needs to be involved together. Yeah. One thing that we say in like the sector is you can't work in silos. So if I'm an organization working on climate education, I want to go to another organization that is working on urban gardens, or I want to go to an organization that is, so let all of us do this thing together. I think it will make
because at the end of the day, we're all fighting for the same
Exactly,
thing. We just want to ensure that our environment, because our environment has so much impact on us. I mean, one of the things I studied biology, by the way, and one of the things I will talk about, and one of the things we talk about is ecology, and ecology just simply talks about how animals interact with their environment, and there are a lot of things that even as you are sitting down here like this right now, there are a lot of interactions that are going on with we ourselves and also in the environment. And one funny thing is that even other animals are also part of our environment. Yeah. So all of those things, they are very important. We're talking about schools, right? And one of the important things that we also need to do when it comes to school is trying to train the teachers as well. Yeah. Because if you as a teacher don't even know that there's a problem, there's no way you'll be able to explain to the child they are teaching that there's a problem, or talk less of even providing solutions to the problem. I've earlier talked about how it is important that instead of just having the knowledge, I'm a very practical person. I prefer, instead of just knowing the knowledge, theory, how do we do all of those things? Like, how do we get our hands on board? Okay, fine, there's pollution in the environment. This is bad. That is not good. What are the solutions to do these things? I'm more concerned, even far back when I was still in secondary school, right? For me, one teacher is stating a problem, in my head, I'm like thinking of a solution already. What can be the possible solution?
She must be a very smart kid.
What can be the solution to this particular thing? That's how I see things. And even if you're teaching me, probably you're teaching me my own kind of reason, how I'm seeing it, how can I apply it to my daily life? And if teachers are able to explain how to apply certain things in their daily life, would see more change in the environment.
I would like to join these practical aspects with content creation and using the media, social media, to actually put our content out there. Behind the scene, we actually talked about how you can reach out to communities, especially the marginalized areas, especially people that language barrier can actually be a barrier. So I was just saying that, okay, another strategy is putting up the practical aspects, but in their own language, displaying something. Maybe you can bring fire or something, or I don't know, or flood, and say, okay, when you carry this and you dump into the river, this is what happens, this is what happens, this is how it goes. Or when you carry the nylon, you do this, you do that with it, this is exactly what is going to happen. And they'll be like, wow. So if this person can literally communicate this thing with a practical example, that means this is exactly what can literally happen if we continue in this line. So I think using the social media, Instagram and other social media platforms, and also a physical education as well, a physical, theoretical, practical will also help these communities.
So you're speaking on audiovisual learning. So if I'm going into a school now, I'm not going with just my face and paper. I'm taking things that the students are able to look at, watch, like documentaries, videos.
Make reference to.
Exactly, make reference to. You're taking card games. You're even taking video games if they are available that are talking about these issues. So that actually makes it much easier for them to grasp certain concepts when you're talking to them.
I mean, talking is good, right? But then seeing while talking again is better.
Seeing is believing, my brother.
Exactly. I think seeing is believing at the end of the day. So it's more of creating a picture in their mind. When you are talking, right, you just create a picture in people's mind. But when they see it, they are able to basically you give them less stress in trying to understand, because even as I'm talking, I'm very sure there's a picture that you have in your mind as with what I'm saying. And that thing again is the role of the government. It's important that we have policies that are infused here and there in every sector. I mean, in Nigeria, there used to be this environmental thing that they do every Saturday. Exactly. And it's growing up, it was one that was very much enforced, because I remember vividly, there was a particular Saturday that I was very hungry and there was no bread in the house. So it was only me and my uncle. And my uncle was like, you cannot go out to go and buy bread until 10 o'clock. I'm like, I'm hungry now. I was very angry on that particular day. I was really just in one corner, just doing like this, that kind of thing. But there was that enforcement while growing up. And today we see that all of those things are being watered down little by little. In Lagos State, for example, if your market is dirty, the government is going to come and shuts it down.
Yeah.
And once when you clean your market, there's no, and then apart from the fact that you have to clean your market, there's also a fine that you have to pay. So that's one of the things that I love Lagos State government for. Like, if your market is, they don't even care the number of amounts that you generate, the number of people that it will affect. The point is that you have to clean your market and ensure that your market is not dirty.
To add up to what you just said, another strategy to adopt is monitoring evaluation. So it's very important, because one thing is to enforce a policy, and another thing is to go and evaluate that, okay, that thing I've actually said, is it really happening? Is it really taking place? What are these people really doing about it? So by the time the government have enforced, and there's a PPP, that's a public-private partnership, between NGOs, other officials, and then the government, making sure that, okay, let this set of people, or everybody, there's a policy, let there be a check back. Let everybody go back. This same set of people, let them go back and check these people. Okay, are you really doing what I asked you to do? Because it's going to benefit anybody. And anybody that not do it, they should pay money and let the money come to my account.
Oh, really? So, I mentioned earlier of Finland.
Yeah.
When it comes to education generally, Finland is one of those countries that you want to point to that they have the best education.
Yeah.
Japan did.
And so this is another thing again. The one thing that they are good at again is environmental education. As far back as 2016, they've been able to integrate it into their curriculum, and now setting a global standard for the whole world to follow as suit. And it just shows how, if there's the intentionality of the government, right, it makes things work very easy, and we see all of these things as being integrated poco a poco.
Another country, this particular country is where I grew up. Don't believe at your own risk. But anyways, Kenya has actually established a green school initiative where they've actually helped put it into their curriculum, and to make students, schools, to understand that, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to do this to make sure that the environment is okay. So Kenya is really, really doing a very good job. And I know that by the time I go back there, a lot of things must have improved.
You'll go back. Anyway, so I think, speaking on the two countries that you've mentioned, what we should be seeing in the future in Nigeria especially, is because it's not that these initiatives don't happen in Nigeria, it's that they're doing it on a small scale, maybe regional level. If the government can support some of these initiatives to make it a nationwide thing, and it would be much better for everyone.
Let me also chip this in that Kenya is actually following the footsteps of the Finnish government, and they're even working in collaboration to ensure that works out. And also, UN also has education for sustainable development framework. It's the whole plan of the framework is also help countries who want to integrate educational environmental education into their system, and it just makes things very easy. The framework is just there. You just go and copy it basically and try to look for how it will work for your own country. Because again, what works in Finland, what works in Kenya,
context matters.
Exactly, because it depends on how your environment is built, what exactly are the issues in the environment, and try to relate it to environment, because that's even most important. Because I can't bring a problem from probably the UK and then take it to the US and try to explain to those in the US. It doesn't really work like that. But if I take a problem from the US, try to look for a solution together, it will make things easier.
Which is why for the longest time, climate education wasn't really penetrating into schools and communities, because if I'm talking about climate education with my Western context, melting ice caps, whatever, people will be like, where are the ice caps in Nigeria? Even in Africa, there are only like 3 countries that actually have like ice caps. So what are we talking about? You have to now bring that context down to the Nigerian level.
I mean, like, it's important that we bring everything down to the level. So finally, on a final note, like, I want to know, what are your own personal recommendations when it comes to environmental education?
I think we should make it as engaging as possible. So if you go into teaching environmental education or climate education to especially students or people in hospitals or universities, how can you make it engaging? What are you bringing into that room that's, they can sit together and talk about the situation? And at the end of the day, both of you go out more learned. Learn it. Yeah. So I don't want to have a situation where I brought you two together, and because you know more than her, you stand like, you mean you don't know this? What? So she has to be able to learn in a safe environment.
Space,
exactly. Yeah. So that I think.
Well, I think I go with what you go with because I think this particular environmental education is very, very important. We should really truly take it very serious from the top, that's the government, to I don't know, there's no least person, but anyways, to the last person in every society. They should understand that, okay, we need to make sure that our environment is safe. It's safe for us. We are safe for the environment because, like I said, the repercussion does not happen now.
Yeah.
It will come when nobody knows.
Yes.
No, it's already here, but
Actually, it's already here. We have several groups, in fact, even online, right? I've been seeing several more climate activists that post content online. So if we could, but again, they don't still get the engagement and all of those things. But it's really sad. But we won't stop either way. We'll continue with the awareness, and that is the very first thing. And also, youth participation is very important. It's important to get all youth on board when it comes to these things, and also ensure that the young ones are also not left behind. My name is Paul, and it's been a lovely episode here on environmental education. Thanks for joining us, Ifechi.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until we meet again, bye for now.
Bye, guys.